You know, ladies, that the Rebel Tribe is all about trying to bring things to you that can help you in your everyday life. So when I discovered there was a gentleman out there that works directly with busy, overworked people like us, okay? Teaching us how to feel better, how to release our past, how to change our lives. I knew I had to have him on. So that's our guest tonight. Welcome to the Rebel Tribe podcast, where sass meets savvy and empowerment meets attitude. Now, as you always hear me say, we're not just another podcast. We're your virtual tribe of fierce females ready to conquer the world. So join us as we maybe, hopefully, figure out a way to get some extra time in our day, or at least a little less stress in our day while we smash through those stereotypes and break those barriers. So get ready to see more and do more and be more with the Rebel Tribe podcast, because it's time to unleash your inner rebel and rock the world on your terms. My guest tonight is Douglas Myrick. And as I said, he has this, I'm just going to call it a hack, a mind hack, because that's how he introduced it to me. It's a weird mind hack. So you knew I was instantly intrigued. Welcome to the podcast, Douglas.
Thank you so very much. It is a pleasure to connect with you.
Let's get right to it, because your work is absolutely fascinating and transformative. What?
You've done
How did you find this weird mind hack? I mean, you were in pre-chiropractic studies at the time?
That's right. That's right. It was 2006, and I had returned to the University of Arkansas where I was studying pre-chiropractic, but I wasn't an 18, 19-year-old kid. I was 30 something years old, 31, 32. And I'd had an awful lot of life and life experience before then. And I'd carried with me a lot of accumulated trauma, starting with childhood sexual abuse. I don't know if I can say that on there, but anyone who's ever faced the disempowering nature of that, they understand how that can carry with you. You can set it aside, but it's never quite gone. And so the way I discovered this, and I'll be brief, is I'm sitting in human anatomy class, having spent thousands of dollars out of pocket that same time of year on seminars, therapy, prescription drugs, hypnosis. Famous people you and I both know by name go away for 3 days, 3 nights, and you stay there and you walk on crazy things, and you can't believe you did that through karate boards. And it felt good at the time. But then the results wore off. And I wanted to know why. I began to investigate why self help doesn't stick. And my studies led me to an overlooked structure in the brain called the amygdala, the seat of emotional memories and the fear response. And it was then hypothesized that the reason why sometimes traumatic based self help efforts don't resolve is because you aren't communicating those positive intentions with the emotion bank of the mind, the amygdala. You have to speak its language. And then, oh boy, does it open its arms and embrace you. Change happens. And that's how I discovered it. I was sitting in class. The professor came out and said, okay, cranial nerves, we're going to start with number one, the olfactory process, your sense of smell. And then he said the words, and this is what did me in. This is why I didn't go on and finish chiropractic school. I changed my major that same day. He said, the sense of smell activates the amygdala. My eyes lit up. I said, this man just gave me what I've been searching for, how to help myself and make it stick. So then what I did, and I'll wrap with this, and I left class right away. All these 18-year-old kids looking at me like, I can't believe you'd have the audacity to get up in the middle of a lecture, but I did. And I hobbled as quickly as I could to the student union, where I knew that they offered sliced lemon wedges with their drinks. I ordered a drink, got my lemon wedge, sat my silly self over in the corner, and in fewer than 5 minutes, not knowing what I was doing, I released the anxiety, the depression, the shakes, the tremors, the flop sweat. It was gone. That was 2006, and it's never ever come back. I don't have the qualifications to call it permanent or a cure, and I'll never do that. But what the hell do you call it?
Sounds pretty permanent to me.
And these are the things that same day I started grabbing people. I said, come here, you got to try this. Do you have anxiety about math? Yeah, I do. Try this thing. The anxiety's gone. Well, great. Do you have trouble with public speaking? I sure do. Try this. It's gone. And that's when I realized I don't have to go off to chiropractic school. I've got something right here.
How did that evolve into what you're doing now? I mean, you were working on yourself basically, but how did that evolve into what you do today?
Well, I was so relieved with what happened and how day after day it stayed in effect that I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I'm a blabbermouth, you can tell. And so I'm sitting at the Waffle House between classes, trying to focus on my homework day after day. And I kept talking to people who would come in and they'd say, well, let me try this. Shoot, I'd like to stop smoking. Well, let's try it. Boom. All that craving dropped. Talking to people who work there, waitresses, people are like, man, I was in this relationship with this horrible abusive fella. Do you think you could help me with that? Well, why? What's the problem? She says, I can't trust. And how do you build a future relationship with anybody, even a good man you meet, when you can't trust because of the past? So I said, I don't know if it'll work. Let's try it. And it worked. And it's not the lemon, it's anything that's a safe, pleasing aroma. It's not aromatherapy, it's just self help with a weird little tweak, a mind hack that makes all the difference.
Weird. Okay,
It,
that is weird. I'll give it a weird mind hack is what it is. Okay.
it is that. And so I began offering this to people. I had also simultaneously began teaching hypnosis certification for clinical hypnosis at various places. I'd had doctors, nurses, students from the university who were getting their PhD in clinical psych. Anybody who was interested, dentists, they could come up, and a lot of people who were just very curious from childhood. And I found when I would demonstrate the hypnosis for them, that was interesting. But when I would just kind of add in this little weird mind hack, they were all getting instant results without any further training. Their volunteers were just sobbing, tears were flowing. Stuff from years and years ago was bubbling out, but it wasn't re traumatizing them, it was neutralizing. And that's when my good friend Dr. Whitney and I said, whoa, we need to step back and maybe study this a little bit, get our mind around what in the world you found. And that began the search. I ended up with 10 banker boxes filled with notes, with research, with techniques, over 1,000 techniques. My stars, it's been a ride. And yes, we've had clients from all over. There have even been celebrities that we've had the pleasure to work with, and we have non-disclosure agreements signed with them because of their agents. But very definitely, anybody out there from all walks of life, it seems they can benefit from this.
Okay, so I confess to you today that I had to drive through city traffic. I hate driving in city traffic. I have
Yeah,
peripheral vision problems, so driving in traffic just makes me very nervous.
yeah,
And you said that you could relieve that stress. So can you walk me through how I might apply this technique to like relieve my stress when I'm driving?
yes.
I get terribly anxious.
I'll say this, it's best not to use a modality like this while operating machinery or else, just for safety. But what I have found is you can preload it using a safe, pleasing aroma. Some people even just use toothpaste, just don't get it on your nose. But scented lotion, your favorite perfume, it doesn't matter what the scent is, as long as you haven't been smelling it for a few minutes. It perks the amygdala up for a few seconds. It looks out the proverbial window and says, what's going on? We're safe? Okay. And then it goes back to sleep. It's part of the survival dynamic of the mind, that instinct that keeps us safe. What I would recommend is if you can get it parked, take 30 seconds and use any pleasing aroma. I always have one on me. This happens to be peppermint essential oil or lavender or anything else. I've used a stick of gum at one of our seminars. The guy was being a jerk and he said, well, I know what I'll use. And he took his old work boot off. But it blew my mind. He still got relief from it. I suppose you could use something that smells bad. I just don't want to. For you, for anyone who's dealing with stress, you have to understand that the way the body responds in a stressful situation has more to do with how you've handled threat assessment and stress in the past. This isn't counseling or psychology. This is just my opinion. But I have found that people who get triggered easily in traffic, and I was that way, a quick way to get out of that is to preload your mind with an exercise like here and now. Do you happen to have something there, coffee or anything you could smell?
I actually have some chai.
Oh, let's do it. First, let's go ahead and get your body ready. If you would, shrug your shoulders if there's no discomfort there, nice and tight. Nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just simply say or think, I'm safe now.
I'm
I'm
safe. I'm
safe
safe now.
now.
I'm safe now.
And now shrug your shoulders, but this time breathe in a deep cleansing breath with your chai. And as you exhale, say, I'm safe now.
I'm safe now.
And the neat thing about it is you don't have to believe it because you're communicating with the part of the brain that doesn't know the difference. It just notices how you feel. If you can get yourself into a calm, relaxed state, and then picture in your mind or recall a memory of a time that you were tense or frustrated in traffic. At that point, using a number scale from 0, perfectly peaceful and calm, all the way up to an extreme 11 of emotional agitation or intensity, write down or remember how intensely you feel triggered or upset about being in traffic or anything in life. Even if you don't know what's upsetting you, identify the feeling and try to rate it from 0 to 11, because this is how we know that it not only starts to work for a person, but they can check it over time, over the years. Think about that thing. Where am I? 0 to 11. Yeah, I'm still a 2. Okay, I guess it's still working. And so for you, thinking about that thing that upset you, being in traffic, being cut off, having a hard time with the peripheral vision, rate it from 0 to 11. How strongly do those feelings come to you now?
Right now, I feel fine. Okay.
Good. So the memory is not necessarily, pardon me, the memory is not necessarily evocative of a strong trigger reflex. You just know that it happened.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I can remember. I mean, I remember when I'm in it, I'm like near tears sometimes. I'm so stressed out.
Think about being near tears from 0 to 11. How strongly would you say that is?
That's an 11. Okay.
All right. Pardon me. Okay, then let's start with an 11.
Okay.
Good. Grab your aroma and let's go 7 slow cleansing breaths. And all you do is just breathe it in and then exhale from the mouth and just say an affirmation of peace. This isn't woo woo, but this is authentic communication. I can feel better now. I can choose when to feel better now. I get to be in control of this situation. And I don't care who it was in the past who tried to take my power. I can reclaim it now, or I may wait and do it later. It's up to me because I'm taking back my control breath by breath, and I can respect that. I can like that. I get to decide when. I get to say who. I get to say how. I reclaim my power just now. And I don't know when. I may choose in the future to use this, to embrace this, to love this feeling again, but I might and I might not. I get to choose because I reclaim my power. Because I reclaim my power, I can show others my assertiveness, my calmness, my centeredness. And I'm glad. I am glad. And I don't know when I'll start to feel it, but I'll know it and I'll love it. Nice deep breath in with aroma. And just remind yourself, I'm in control. I am safe. I can trust myself again. I've made mistakes in the past. I've been hurt before, blindsided, should have seen it coming, can't believe I was that betrayed, and it hurt. But I grew through it and I became stronger because of it. Now I'm wiser. Now I'm smarter. I see more clearly and I can trust myself again. I can learn to love and forgive and trust myself again when I want to. Maybe not now. Maybe not now. I get to choose when. It doesn't have to be now. It could be next year, next week, but I'll know when the time is right because I will be ready to do it and I'll be prepared. And I love it. I simply love that power, that control. I don't have to feel afraid. I don't have to feel out of control. I can choose when to reclaim my power because tribe knows tribe. And I know I'm not alone. I've got people out there who love me, who support me, who stand in my mission. I'm safe and I love it. If that resonates with you, why not just go ahead and think about what we talked about? You rated it a teary eyed 11. Now, from extreme 11, I am just so fed up with this, can't take it. Moving down to 0, calm, feels better. Think about it for a moment. Just sit with it. You're in control, not me. So when you're ready, please tell me what number you'd give it now.
Well, I feel pretty good right now. I guess the real test will be if I go get on the bypass tomorrow and don't freak out, I'll be okay.
Yes. What number would you give it?
Oh, I'm probably a 0 right now.
Wow. That's the same experience I had handling that childhood sexual abuse and all the other things that it. And I'm here to tell you therapy couldn't touch that. And I'm not a therapist and I make no medical claim, of course. But not knowing what I was doing, just simply acting on an idea that came in a class, I broke the back of crushing anxiety. So much so that something on that campus triggered me to the point when I would step on it, the sweat would start to form. I would get nervous and my hands would shake. And oh, it's hard being a 30 something in a college anyway. But now you're the old guy in the center of the classroom sweating. I was so grateful to be free from that. And it wasn't just that. I broke free from drinking without a craving. The weight loss. Oh, I never saw that one coming. That was only recently. I've been so busy helping other people. Somebody finally said, look, dude, why don't you create something to help yourself? Because I got pretty big up there. And I had been there for years because, like many, many people, I tried to lose weight. I did anything paleo, low carb, you name it, high protein. Yeah, intermittent fasting was nice. But here's what I found. I think a lot of your listeners will understand where I'm coming from. I'm 52 years old. I'm not supposed to be able to easily lose weight. I'm supposed to have to go and starve myself and go on prolonged fasts and high medication, you know. And yet, in the last 4.5 months, using this weird little mind hack, I dropped 55 pounds and I was never hungry. I eat chocolate every single day. I snack 6 times. And this mind hack is most of the heavy lifting. Incidentally, we're going to have, I don't know if it's a book, but it may be just an online course or class or video where I reveal to everybody exactly how I'm doing this because it's generated a lot of stir. I wish I had done it before because it helps people. It was, I was too focused, I guess, on on the stress and all the other things that we work with. It's to my shame, but man, now none of my clothes fit. They just simply don't. And no exercise. I don't starve myself. I don't do anything weird or bizarre. There's nothing I do that you wouldn't find in a good gourmet kitchen cabinet,
Well,
but it works.
when that happens, because I've been struggling with my weight for years, and I'm 67. You're right. We don't lose weight
Right.
easily. Okay, so
I'd lose 15 pounds and gain 20. I know exactly what you mean.
yep. So yeah, I'll be all in on that one. Keep me posted.
Good. December 15th, we should release it on the website. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll write that date down. Well, we talked about weight loss and we've talked about stress. What are some other like common mental roadblocks you've discovered in your work?
Over the years, we've helped people with a wide variety of things, some of them most unusual. And here's the thing about it: you don't have to share with me any of your sensitive personal information. All a person usually has to tell me is there's something I'm dealing with, and I'd like to stop feeling bad about it so I can quit wasting my energy feeling like hell and can apply that energy towards solving the problem. And so sometimes people use this information in the most bizarre ways. I had a gentleman who contacted me because where I live here in the home of Walmart Corporation, we live right here between two golf courses. And this gentleman contacted me and he said, I've got a personal problem. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and you're going to help me. I said, okay, we'll try.
Okay.
He contacted me later and he said, it worked. I'm not going to embarrass myself by telling you what it is, but man to man, you can understand what I probably helped myself with. And I'm like, oh, wow, you're kidding. So apparently we can compete with Viagra. That was shocking. But it has helped athletes. It has helped people here in business. We work with a lot of Walmart suppliers and vendor partners. It's high stress, high stakes when you're dealing with the world's largest retailer. And in the mart of competitive commerce, sometimes you need that competitive advantage. You can't just come home and have a drink of wine and solve everything. In the morning, the troubles are hanging there waiting for you. So, what we do is we use kind of a cup of water approach. If you imagine, day by day, your workplace stress begins to accumulate. And once it gets too much, you go walking around, it's going to splash everywhere, make a mess out of things. And that's what you see in life with overstressed, overworked professionals. Life gets awfully messy, awfully fast. And so, what we teach them how to do is simply dump that cup. Now, life can continue, but it won't destroy you because your cup's empty and it can take it. That's the difference. Oh, it's made all the difference. We've worked with just, oh my goodness, counselors, doctors, lay people. Sometimes I never know what it is that they do professionally. Truck drivers will sometimes use these teachings when they're out driving. And I just can't wait to see some of the other stories that come out. People who are dealing with relationship breakups and divorce recovery, so you don't go right back and rebound with an idiot, this can help. Absolutely. People who are dealing with trouble asserting themselves at work, they want to stand up, they want to stand out, they want to shine, but the patriarchy and the conventional nonsense that's out there has made it very difficult for people. A lot of my clients, I deal mostly with women, and I have found that when a person who is capable and confident finally reconciles with themselves that it's safe to assert themselves, look out, boys, because that's the sound of glass falling. And I like that. I like to get stories like that. I like to hear about promotions. And I enjoy helping people who have struggled with areas where they want to have a promotion. There are people who would like to move across the aisle into sales, but they're terrified to go and speak with people. We eliminate that phobia. There are people who need to get up in front of the board and give a presentation. Oh, but they get tongue tied. We eliminate that phobia. And the beauty of this, I have to stress, is it's not me treating somebody. It's a 45-minute or less phone call or Skype or Zoom, whatever works, Zoom now. And we either talk directly about the problem or they tell me there is a problem. I can't go into what it is. I don't want to, but here's some of the feelings that are associated with it. And whether we take the feeling approach or the specificity approach, we custom make something that they can then go home in the comfort and privacy of their own home or office. And in minutes, they can begin to back things down, flush things out, and they've got real proof right there in their fist, the before and after ratings. And then they can say, well, let's see how I feel tomorrow. They wake up tomorrow, they go, they shower, they go to brush their teeth, they look in the mirror and they like what they see. Something's different. And they say, let's take a 0 to 11. And the number maybe sometimes goes down. Went to bed with a 6 and now it's a 4. And she's just rubbing her eye going, what in the world happened? That's because as you slept, the brain was continuing to process, to put the pieces back together so that the puzzle of life fits now. That's what this does. It's good stuff.
Well, I bet you there's a lot of women right now that are sitting out there wanting to do this now. Okay. They're like,
And
I want this now.
well, I have good news. I have just finished the last chapter of the manuscript of the Novanetics book, Novanetix. And it will be available on our website about the same time the weight loss manual comes out. We look to release them both. If a person uses both in tandem, man, they've got it. Then they really got things going for them. And we try to make it accessible. If somebody wanted to get in touch with us before then, of course, I can make time for that. That's no problem. We have free phone consultations. And on the website, novanetx.com, no, .org. We changed that. It's .org. novanetix.org. Down at the very bottom, past the testimonials and whatnot, there's a place where you can schedule a free consultation call. And I'll be honest with people, if there's something too in the woods, I say I can't help you. You might consider therapy or some other situation because I know my scope and limitation.
Well, fear and self-doubt are pretty common themes in the Rebel Tribe, because that's who we work with.
Yeah,
Can you help women with that?
most definitely. Definitely. I have found that the fear of loss touches everything adverse in a human life. The fear of loss in all its forms, loss of comfort, loss of money, loss of status, loss of opportunity, loss of freedom, anything that could harm or bedevil a human has at its root core the fear of loss. So, what we do to save time is we just simply track what's going on with them down to that fear of loss. What is that specific root? And then we attack the root, everything else just blows off with it. Saves time. Oh my goodness. And I can teach a person how to help themselves with that. So that way they can get very deep, very visceral with it, to rip it up by the roots. And because when you take something out by the roots, you leave a gaping hole that could be filled with a bad habit, with a horrible coping strategy, that's why in every one of our techniques, we include something that puts the good stuff back in. I call it potentiation. If you're playing golf and you hit it too hard, you leave a hole, a divot. You've got to fill the divot. And the same thing with this sort of thing. So we use affirmations, but these aren't the kinds you've tried before that don't stick. These are the ones that work because we use the mind hack. We use aroma and it sticks. I'm pretty excited about it. I can't believe it's lasted as long as it has all these years, but it just gets better and better.
Well, you mentioned woo woo before, okay? And I am not gonna laugh because I have another friend who's done a couple of episodes on my podcast and she's pretty woo woo, okay?
I'm not impugning it, but it's just,
Helped
it
me a
was
lot. So, I mean, she has gotten on there with me and put me through some of her stuff, and she's helped me a lot. She's cured my insomnia for one thing. So, I am never going to say something's too woo woo. Okay, you never know. The mind is a strange little thing,
oh, it
but
is. It
there
is.
are going to be people out there that are going to be like, yeah, okay. How do you ensure that you're kind of backed by some kind of science research, something for those
We
people that are sitting out there going, yeah, this is crazy, and I'm not even going to try because you're all crazy.
no. I go back to 2006. It started there when the professor of anatomy gave me those 7 golden words in his lecture. The sense of smell activates the amygdala. Well, we can do a Google Scholar search and you can find many peer reviewed studies where this is in fact the case. And that doesn't mean just because it's stimulated that the next thing you say is going to stick. You have to communicate to the amygdala in the language. In my book, I go into that, or in our training seminars or our private consultations, we explain it deals with emotion rich symbols. And when you communicate an emotion and a symbol paired properly with aroma at just the right intensity, it grabs onto it. As far as contributive research, I would go to the leader in the field of aromacology, the very respected Dr. Rachel Hers. And she is from Brown University, as I recall. She's the leading scholar for aromacology and has several papers out there. We can go on other studies such as McCullough, where it talks about the thalamus and bypassing portions and activities of the thalamus, the hippocampus, and the entire limbic system. But it is primarily led with the amygdaloidal response. And again, if a person really wants to dig into it, I just recommend they try it. There are videos on YouTube, I believe, where if you search my name, you can find where I have some of the techniques that I've just given away over the years. Trash can stomp, that's the one that set me free, the trash can stomp. And I just say to a person, try it. Try it. Get your before score, write it down. Get your after score, write it down. Of course, you're going to feel better. That's the point. You're changing the response side of the stimulus response chain so that in the future, it'll stay lower. It'll never be the way it was before. If it's an 11, it will never again be an 11. It might bounce up to an 8, a 9, a 10. That just means you've got to use the technique 9 more times so that it sets the threshold lower and lower and lower. You're literally learning how to redefine the mind.
Sweet. Well, I'm really excited about the weight loss thing because I'm tired of struggling with my weight.
Oh my goodness, it's just tickled pink. I am embarrassed. I cannot believe I didn't think to try it with weight loss, but it really makes all the difference. Oh, I just I can't share it with enough people.
So other than the weight loss, what else? What's your vision for Novanetics? And you have something else called Faster Path.
Faster Path is a small fledgling organization that teaches 3 principles for busy, overworked lives. And that is you can restore emotional balance by doing good, becoming better, and sharing love. And what that means is entirely up to you. It can mean doing good for yourself, which then spills over into surplus joy for others, doing good for others. It can be becoming better, which is like using Novanetics to help yourself, because when you fill your cup back up, you can't help but share the overflow. So it helps the community, helps the world. And the third, of course, is sharing love. If we don't love and respect and trust ourselves at the subconscious and conscious level, if we don't have that partnership, life gets to be hard, messy. We're full of self-doubt. We're full of fear. But when your subconscious that's been wounded by your past choice mistakes, things that you didn't even choose to have happen, trauma, accidents, bad choices, people hurting you for no reason whatsoever, it doesn't trust you anymore. When you can create peace between the inner and the outer, now you have a partner again that loves you and wants you to thrive. And it never sleeps. It's always cheering with you. And like I say, tribe knows tribe.
Well, if there was one thing that you wanted our listeners to take away tonight from this conversation, what would that be?
I would be that the mind is not inflexible, but can change. No matter what you're going through, no matter how you think, I've tried this time and time again, and it just doesn't work for me. Life is hard. I'm afraid. I'm filled with self doubt. I don't know what's going to happen next. I second guess myself. Everybody's against me. It's like I've been gaslighted all my life. What do I do now? I tell you, you can become immune to the crap of life. You can set your tolerance threshold where you want it. You can allow the bad things of the past to simply remain memories, not toxic memories. You can take the sting out of past and present situations, workplace situations, home life situations, people who doubt you, people who gossip about you, people who do not have your back, people who come up against you, fears, phobias, anything like that that holds you back. And now, yes, even weight management, because when the inner and the outer are in harmony, working together, not in opposition, it trusts you again. It trusts you again. That's when change can happen for you and for you and for you and for you and for you. And I've seen it so many times. Go on my website, find the people in my testimonials, look them up on social media, ask about that crazy Douglas guy. They'll tell you their story. They'll tell you their story.
So if we wanted to learn more about your methods or your workshops or your whatever, the book you said you had a book coming, is all of that on your website?
The book is not yet. We don't have the publication dates specifically, and I didn't want to push it just yet. I'm actually not doing a pre-hype. What we're doing tonight, you and I, this is the first time I've actually publicly talked about those things. Just outside of people who've been with me, watching me test it to make sure that everything's working well. But the website for the Novanetics material is NOVANETIX.org. And if you scroll down there, you'll see one, maybe two videos where I explain all of this in detail. So a person really gets a feel for how it was discovered, what it does do for others, what it could do for them, and how to access it. Then if they scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a place where they can freely book a phone call with me or Zoom if you wish. We can just get to know each other, visit. It's not a sales call. I found that I don't have to sell this stuff. People sample it, and if it's right for them, great. If it's not, thank you for your time. And that's it. We don't push. And Faster Path is out there too. It's faster, path.org.
Okay. Well, this sounds fascinating. I have to admit, like I said, I'm eagerly waiting for the weight loss.
I
I'm,
love it. I
I'm
love my
sure
daily items.
I definitely need some help because I've tried everything that you
Yes.
mentioned yourself, and probably a few that you don't even know about. So I've tried them all. So
My degree is health science education, and I still hit 300 pounds. That was ridiculous. I mean, it was killing me. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I not helping myself? Now we've met this. And you know what? I've never seen more excitement around any of the things that we've done for people. I hope it helps a lot of folks. I mean, if we could help 100 people with that weight loss thing, I would be tickled pink if we reached that many people someday.
well, if it works, I will be singing your praises everywhere because everybody knows how long I've been struggling with and I eat very healthfully. I do not understand what the problem is. I eat very healthfully. I don't eat a lot. I mean,
Right.
and I don't eat a lot of junk. I mean, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
very, very careful, very clean eating, very careful about what I do eat. So I don't understand. Okay. I don't get it. So anything, yes, if it works, I will be out there going, this guy. Okay. So thank you
Wonderful.
for getting on here with us tonight because I'm already excited about, I know that women out there that are sitting there going, okay, send us the resources. So I will put the links in the program notes on the video so they can touch base with you if they want to.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you so much for being with us tonight. This was very exciting.
Oh, thank you. I genuinely appreciate your time. I do. I appreciate you.
And everybody out there, you know the drill, okay? Like this thing, share this thing, comment this thing, hit the notification button, do the stuff, okay? Just do the stuff
Uh,
because there's so many great speakers on this channel and we want it to grow. So help us grow, do all the stuff. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good night, Douglas. Thanks for being on.
Thank you. Have a good night.